warm good morning to one and all present over here. On behalf of AJK College of Arts and Science, a hearty welcome to all the dignitaries, guests, and my dear friends to the webinar on Career Path Towards Industrial Biotechnology. I take this a privilege to invite our beloved Chinnadurai Sir, Department of Biotechnology, for welcome address.
So, good morning to one and all present here. Respected Secretary Sir, Principal Sir, guest of honor, beloved staff members, and my dear students. Warm welcome to everyone. I gives me immense pleasure to extend a very warm welcome to all of you present in the national webinar on a career path towards industrial biotechnology organized by Department of Biotechnology, AJK College of Arts and Science. Welcome to everyone. So welcome, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I would be like to welcome Ms. Soumya from 3rd BSc Biotechnology for introducing the chief guest.
Good morning, everyone. It's my tremendous honor to introduce guest for today's program. He is Dr. Akhil Anand. He completed PhD in Metabolic Engineering at CBT Anna University, Chennai. He is DST Post Junior and Senior Research Fellow during the year 2010-2015 and also Academic Fellowship at Marie Curie during 2013-14. He was also Junior Research Fellow at UGC BSR and also DBT BIRAC Industrial Research Associate. He was invited as researcher Wageningen University, the Netherlands. He had 5 years of industrial experience and 12 years of research experience in metabolic engineering and bioprocess engineering. Now he is a research and development manager in Sun Pharmaceutical Industries Limited at Gujarat. Sir, we are honored by your presence. Hope we will be knowing something about career path towards industrial biotechnology. Thank you.
Thank you, Soumya. Now I take this an opportunity and considered it a pleasure to welcome our chief guest, Dr. N. Anil Anand, Research and Development Manager, Upstream Biotechnology, Sun Pharmaceutical Industry Limited, Baroda, Gujarat, to this session. Welcome you, sir.
Hello?
Sir. Okay, da. Start.
Am I audible?
Okay, sir. So start panninga.
Yeah.
It is audible.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. This is Akhil Anand from Sun Pharmaceutical Baroda. I am very glad to be part of the session. Thank you, my friend Chinnadurai, and thank you for the management who are invited me for the session. And thank you, students. Hello?
Okay, நீ ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணு. கேக்குது, ஆடியபிளா தான் இருக்கு. கேக்கு.
Yeah, that is audible, but I'm not able to share the screen actually.
Screen share பண்ணு. அந்த கீழ ஷேர்க்கு ஸ்கிரீன் இருக்கும் பாரு, அந்த இடத்துல வந்து கிளிக் பண்ணு.
Wait.
Chat box கிட்ட ஸ்கிரீன் ஷேர்னு ஒன்னு இருக்கும் பாரு, அந்த இடத்துல கிளிக் பண்ணு.
Wait. I saw that. பாத்துட்டேன்.
ஷேர் ஸ்கிரீன் கூட.
Good morning to everybody. This is Akhil Anand from Sun Pharmaceuticals, Baroda. I am very glad to share my experience associated with biotechnology. Today, the topic is career path towards the industrial biotechnology. As the talk is more going to be specific in terms of bioprocessing, I will include the terminology. This is something about me. Basically, I'm a metabolic engineer, and right now I'm working as a R&D manager in Sun Pharmaceuticals. More than that, I'm holding a PhD in biotechnology with background in bioprocess and metabolic engineering. And moreover, I have involved in different products like enzymes, probiotics, and biosimilars, as well as the alternative chemicals. And this is my career spans, along with my, if you include my undergraduation and post-graduation, my association with biotechnology is around 17 years. That is I would like to start from 2009 because actually from there I started my career. I would say I initially joined as a research assistant in Center for Biotechnology, Anna University, in a DBT project. Later on, while doing my PhD, mm, I did a fellowship from DST Pulse as well as the BSR fellowships. There I will be subsequently promoted from junior research fellow to senior research fellow. Later on, after completing and submitting my thesis, I I placed in a company called SV Biotech as a research associate in a BIRAC project. Then I moved to Evalua Biotech as a scientist. Then there I have been there around 8 months. Then I moved to Shilpa Medicare. I was involved in a um, senior scientist for handling the upstream processing team. Um, there I mostly focused on biosimilars. Right now I am an R&D manager. I am being here for around 2 years. Next slide. Um, Hello, am I audible to everyone? Hello?
Yes, sir. You are
Hello?
audible.
Yeah. And I would like to segregate the career path of a biotechnologist as three. The first one is industrial career, and then is academic career, and the third one is research career. In the case of industrial career, um, it consists of different fields like upstream, um, upstream, downstream, analytical, and as well as um, QA, that is quality assurance, and also pharmacokinetics. First of all, I would like to tell more detail in this slide. Like, for example, if you really wanted to start an industrial career, I would like to say, um, be specific, choose your own field. Yeah, it would be always better to choose your field when you are doing an undergraduation also. Like, for example, um, something always gives you insights. Some subject you more like. Actually, um, in my case, I like fermentation technology. If you look at my grade sheets, I scored compared to other subjects like molecular biology, immunology. I scored well, some good decent marks in fermentation technology as well as physiology of the microorganisms. And from there, honestly speaking, from that time onwards, I'm not showing much interest on the molecular biology. So I have decided to pursue my career in fermentation. This exactly this point pointed through my professor actually. Uh, mm, hope, Chinnadurai, do you remember Prasanna sir? Chinnadurai? Hello?
Tell me.
Okay. And one of my professor called Mr. Prasanna, who identified, I openly, we discussed about um, my career. I openly asked him, sir, I don't like molecular biology, what should I do? And
Yes, yes.
he openly told me that there are many fields in biotechnology. Nothing going to happen if you don't like such some fields. Just make your develop your skills in specific field like bioprocess engineering. So he only suggests me to choose the field. So from that I decided to go with the path of fermentation technology. So I joined Anna University in a fermentation background. Later on, so I continued my thesis from in the fermentation background only. And the next one is academic, and next one is that one is research. For example, as biotechnology, it's a field of versatile and field of multiple career options. And if you consider about research also, it will automatically ends in academic also, academic. For example, some people want to do their research after PhD. They will like to pursue their postdoctoral fellowship, and they still want to be a scientist and see a scientist in national laboratories. They want to be a director, such kind of profile they like. More than that, other profile is academic. There you must aware of all the things. They start with a senior lecturer or assistant professor. That career will be end up in as a director or principal of the college or vice chancellor. As this current session will be mostly focusing on bioprocess. The continuous session will be slides are also include the same thing. Kindly please raise your questions in between if you are not clear about anything. And I would like to share, there are different products are making through the bioprocess route. These are the different bioprocess industries currently in the world. There are enzyme industries currently. Amylase and protease, lipase are currently manufacturing. There are other enzymes also. Also, these enzymes are different applications like food and amylase enzymes, kind of enzymes which are mostly applicable in food softens for bread, and protease are widely used in leather industries. Lipase is also applicable in food industries, and other chemicals are bio-based ingredients like alternative chemicals. The alternative chemicals, in the sense, is like which are alternative to the uh, chemical synthesis. For example, the biofertilizers or biopesticides are alternative to the urea and other chemical based insecticides and pesticides. And bioplastics like PHA, polyhydroxyalkanoids, and polylactic acids are producing through the fermentation route, which are alternative to the currently derived petroleum based chemical plastics. And fragrances like so like citronellal and lemon and muskmelon are the kind of fragrance they are started working on fermentation route by picking a desired gene from the corresponding plant, like that lemongrass, the plant called which are widely used to making a lemon tea, as well as this thing. How do I say? If you remove the pinch of the plant, you will get a citronellal flavor, which are widely applicable in the fragrances. Nowadays, people are working on that due to that renewable session. And also the vanillin. The vanillin is one of the kind of biomass ingredient which are used for making vanilla ice cream. So people are working on that. And the next one is pharmaceutical industries. So you people mostly aware of that, the recombinant proteins and antibiotics and the monoclonal antibodies and the probiotics as well as API. And recombinant proteins such like you can say the insulin kind of recombinant protein, and the penicillin is a kind of antibiotic. The monoclonal antibodies, I would like to come under innovator molecular and biosimilars. Innovative molecules and the biosimilars. The biosimilars kind of product which are produced compete against the innovator molecule. It is not a novel molecule. For example, if the scientist discover a product and he sold it to a company, that industry making its market. So that is the innovator molecule. That is the first time the market enter into, that's a particular drug would enter into the market. So that is the innovator molecule. And So that particular molecule will hold the patent for around 20 years. So one patent expire, anybody can use the patent. So other companies started working on the same molecule, which has a higher commercial potentials and higher market. Other companies also working on that. So those are called biosimilars. So companies like Biocon and Dr. Reddy's and Sun Pharma, we are working on innovative molecule as well as the biosimilar molecules has a higher commercial potentials. In the case of probiotics, uh, like there are many tablet companies that are Tablet India and Unique Biotech. There are many companies involved in probiotics, and API is a active pharmaceutical ingredients. Is a kind of one of the compound which is widely used in one of the ingredient to the main tablet. Main tablet in the sense supportive tablet, supportive ingredient to the medicine. And you can ask me or interrupt me if you have any doubt. Chinathurai?
சொல்லு சொல்லு கீழே. Hello.
Okay. I'm just telling that if anything asked now, they can interrupt me. They can ask me any doubts.
Okay.
And as today the session is going to be cover what's happening in the pharmaceutical industries. That is exclusively focus on biosimilars. As I have some prior experience in that, we are mostly focused on that. So, friends, what is the expected your timeline for your manufacturing of a particular drug? Drug in the sense, I'm asking of biosimilars. Do you have any idea? Can someone answer?
Student, please tell the answer, ma.
And I will tell. It has a maximum of around if it is an innovator molecule, it will take a maximum of 15 years, 12 to 15 years, I would say. You can see in the slides from the part of discovery to development of a vaccine or monoclonal antibodies, and the major time it includes in clinical trials. Actually, clinical trial, I would say animal studies and human studies, that will take they will keep you under some observation, that will take more time to that. Other than that, the characterization of the molecules and the characterization of the molecules which obtained these are characters of medicine, because as we are working on biological route, there will be a major chances by the mutation of bug for long storage or improper storage. There may be chance of anything would happen during the process also, and process and purification. So it will take that definitely that much of time to reach the market, around 15 years. So in the case of biosimilars, the first one I would say is what I mentioned is about innovator molecule. In the case of biosimilars, except the discovery, as biosimilars are just a reference product of the innovator molecule, this will take lesser span. But however, this part will also include the clinical trial, as they have to also verify that. For working on biosimilar, it will take around 7 to 8 years. And these are the following steps: developing a host for biosimilar platform, developing a host cell. Your host cell could be any other your desired bacterium. I hope you all must studied about E. coli, Escherichia coli, and mammalian cell lines. Most of the currently available biosimilars are producing through mammalian cell lines as well as E. coli and the yeast called Saccharomyces cerevisiae. and there are many steps are involved in that, many things. For example, for developing a clone itself take around 1 to 2 years, and process development for the clone, as well as the characterization and purification of the clone, purification of the product, and the other tests, as I have mentioned earlier. These are the various departments in the industries. Being a biotechnologist, you can involve yourself in various departments. For example, there are department called chain engineering, which are they are majorly involved in choosing a strain, and choosing strain is microorganism. These are microorganisms, as well as the molecular biology. Molecular biology too, they will work on the cloning part for designing cloning part, by inserting the gene into your plasmid, optimizing the vector choice of vectors, and optimize the condition to increase the expression level of desired protein. In the case of upstream department, people are involved in the medium development. Medium developments, you know that you have used yeast extract and peptone and glucose, and many mineral salts you have been used in your lab. Here, people focusing on optimizing a medium to get a higher quantity of the product, and optimize the process conditions. Process conditions is fermentation conditions. How many of you handle the shake flask experiment? Hi, hello. Have you conducted shake flask experiments in your lab? In your lab? Hello.
So tell me, Ile.
Have you conducted shake flask experiments in your lab? In the lab? Okay.
This is a
Actually,
okay. So still we are not able to conduct the lab. It's not available for the first year, second year students. Only the third year students is available. So still we are
okay,
not go
okay,
for the colleges. After reopening the colleges, we can conduct
okay,
it. No?
okay, fine. Okay, fine. I'm just asking. And the thing is, shake flask cultivation, we always use the microbe. You take the your microorganism into the hood. These are like to prevent the contamination, and you inoculate from the agar plant. You inoculate in a specific medium. The specific medium could be your nutrient broth, or your must be in a luria broth, LB, for the growth. There in industry, there is a separate department for optimize the medium itself. Instead of using nutrient broth and LP broth, we always try to find medium which is very available, cheap, and could give maximum productivity. And the next condition is process. In like a shake flask, we used to optimize the process conditions in the fermentation. What is the ambient temperature, ambient growth conditions to conditions which enhance the maximum growth of the microorganisms and maximum productivity. And next thing is part is analytical. The analytical part covers your product characterization. As we are working on a bug, based on their response of the growth profile of the bug, that will your product concentration and product character also change during the process. So we have to analyze very carefully to get the desired range. So we always develop a standard method as well as a reference method. We have to always focus on with the coordination of analytics. We always focus on focus to get a desired product range. As well as the assay development. Assay development means, for example, as we are working on biosimilars, we need a cell-based assay. Cell-based assay means, as I said, what is the response of the drug? For example, once the desired gene of the bug has been cloned and it is produced in upstream fermenter, And after fermenter, we also analyze the decide, confirm that it is our bug, that is this is our product. After that, we have to assay whether that particular product is working fine in the cell line. The initial part is to assay with the cell line. So we will do that. And also quantification. Once the quantification sense, you will quantify the amount of product. As everything based on the industry, how much of tighter they are getting, how much tighter in the here is maximum product productivity. For some will get a 1 gram per liter of product, 1 gram of to 2 grams or 3 grams. What is the maximum product you will get? Your maximum productivity, it is directly related to the commercialization of the product. That is, you can, if you get a maximum productivity, you can easy, you can sell your product very cheaply. With higher productivity, if lower priced of the market in the market. And the next thing is downstream. And downstream here you deal with the product separation, like after fermentation, product separation, like certification, separate that cell as well as supernatant, and purify the product. By using chromatographies. Yeah. And next one is quality assurance. The quality assurance people will do the most of the document parts. Document parts in the sense the SOP preparation, lab notebook, and as highly play with the human nature. At end product is about to play with the human, so they will be very careful in dealing with documentation purpose. So they will always ensure the documentation, and also the regulatory approvals. Regulatory approval in the sense, if you want to launch a product in some country, means US, means you need to get a FDA, that is Food Drug Administration Control approval. Otherwise, for that your documentation should be proper. The QA part will do that. And also that auditing, they will come to audit whether everything is happening properly in the lab, any issues associated with process conditions, and are we people we should not doing properly with according to the protocol. We should not exploit the protocol by doing some other changes. And do you have any doubt in this so far? Hello?
Tell me, Aguilera.
Do you have any questions? Any questions?
The student, please ask the question. Any doubt?
And you can free to ask me. Just consider your friend. You can free to ask me anything. Okay. Or you can also put it in the chat box. If you have any question, put in chat box. Fine. I'm going forward to the next slide.
Yes, sir.
So what is chain engineering? What are the characteristics? What are the criteria we have to follow? The chain engineering is like choose your desired bug. Desired bug in the sense, I mean here is microorganism for the productivity, for the product. The desired character could be it should be metabolically versatile bacterium, and the genetic tools are easily available. Metabolically versatile in this, what I mean here is, I hope you have studied about biochemistry. In the biochemistry, you will all study the different pathways. How many of you studied pathways? Glycolysis, DC cycle? uh, so based on that, because um, it has grown with multiple substrates. The microorganism must have the capability to utilize the substrates and grow with multiple substrates. This some E. coli, for example, I will give you example with E. coli. In the case of E. coli, E. coli will utilize glucose as a carbon source as well as glycerol as a carbon source. Means it is the versatility of the substrates, versatile bacterium. The bug will grow and produce your product by using glucose as well as glycerol. So we should before, because the as I previously mentioned, the cost of the product is majorly related to the your cost of the uh, your high yield density of the product. And so for the above reason, the high yield of product is directly associated with the substrate is your glucose or glycerol. So we must ensure that. And also the one more point should be noted is it should be grown as cheap carbon source. For example, glucose is a cheap carbon source, and for example you can use alternative for glucose as a molasses. If glucose is molasses contains around 50% of glucose. So instead of, as glucose, direct glucose is higher costly, we can use molasses as a carbon source and grow your microorganisms. And then one more next criteria is it should be easy to scale up. Sometimes if you work on fungal cultivation, there will be some troubles like due to the high viscosity and higher long time of cultivation is always been avoidable. So it's always better to be focused on microorganism which has a less doubling time. What is the E. coli doubling time? These are all microbiologists, right? Chinadurai? Hello?
தெரியல.
Hey, எல்லாரும் மைக்ரோபாலஜிஸ்ட் தானா இங்க?
What?
எல்லாரும் மைக்ரோபாலஜிஸ்ட் தானா? am I audible?
biotechnology
எல்லாரும் மைக்ரோபாலஜிஸ்ட் தானா? பயோடெக்னாலஜி தானா? ஈக்குவல் வர்க் பண்ணிருக்கீங்களா?
பண்ணிக்கிறேன். ஈக்குவல் வந்து ஐசோலேஷன் பண்ணிக்கிறேன்.
ஓகே. ஈக்குவல் டபுளிங் டைம் என்ன? ஓகே. ஈக்குவல் டபுளிங் டைம் என்ன? Equally doubling time enna?
It's not audible.
So equally doubling time is 20 minutes. Okay, I think I'm not audible properly. So the doubling time of thanks Hansa for your message. So the doubling time of E. coli is 20 minutes. How about if you think fungal or yeast doubling time evlo irukona 4 hours. So can you suggest me which one I choose? E. coli choose பண்ணவா இல்ல yeast choose பண்ணவா? நான் என்ன சொன்னா E. coli doubling time oh sorry, I'm audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, actually E. coli doubling time is around 20 minutes. And yeast or doubling time is 4 hours. So which bug I should choose? Can someone answer me?
E. coli, sir.
Yeah, great. Yeah, great. The reason, great answer. The reason as I already mentioned, we can easily scale up the bug as well as we can quickly complete the fermentation time. And the next thing is also it should be biosafety. Somehow you can't use a bug which are not safest to the end product as well as which is safest to the human, unsafe to the human, which is actually yeah. And also high product tolerance. It should be able to grow with a high product concentration. Some bug will definitely will not grow with higher product concentration. Even the product concentration itself become toxic to the particular microorganisms. So the bug will not grow continuously. And the most important point is higher product formation. The bug is able to produce higher higher product. So these are the major criteria to choose the strain. So for that, that's why it has taken around 1 to 2 years to choose the proper strain itself, to choose the strain and development. Because uh, even though we come across some literature surveys and many things, choosing a proper strain with desirable quantities and desirable qualities is a major task. So we choose a desired strain with. So what is the next step? The next step is the cattle strain. It's a clone development. You all studied molecular biology, right? Um, so in the molecular, you must study that cloning process. Cloning is a step. For example, you will have a vector. Um, in the vector, you will have a antibiotic resistance gene and a promoter and terminator. There you will be inserting your desired gene. For example, your desired gene is your insulin. You will insert your desired gene, insulin, into the vector and transform into the E. coli. That means whenever the bug is able to grow, continuously growing with the media, uh, the cell division, whenever the bug, meanwhile, your insulin products also replicated. You're getting my point, right? So once you put your plasmid into the E. coli, transform into that, the coming products also from the insulin, also insulin. Then next one is, once the clone is ready, you have to make it as a bank. That is, here you will be using agar plant. In industry, you will be using mostly glycerol stock as well as in liquid nitrogen storage. That is, we can say as a master cell bank and working cell bank. Master cell bank is like once your clone is ready, you have to make it as a stock and keep it in a minus 80 degrees Celsius refrigerator or in a liquid nitrogen tank. Liquid nitrogen tank is minus 170 master cell bank. So working cell bank is like, once we made a master cell bank, from there we'll take a one stock. I'll make a from one stock and make it as a different. We'll put it in a shake flask, and we also use as a stock for some cycles. This is a working cell bank. And the next part is here is a upstream process, and this is a fermenter. Can everybody able to see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hello?
Sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Yeah, fine. Yeah, fine. Please, you can free to ask me if you have any questions or something like that, or any point you are not understanding in my words. Let me know. And this upstream process, the upstream process, like, is a fermenter. In the fermenter, it has broth inside, the fermenter broth inside, and among that, what is fermenter actually? Have you studied biofermenter? Hello?
Yes, sir.
So next semester it will be having that bioprocess technology. Da. So this is
Oh, next
third year.
semester. Okay. Okay. Next semester. Okay, fine. Fermentation என்ன பண்ணுவோம்னா, you will grow the microorganisms in the controlled conditions, desired microorganisms. ஏன்னா நம்ம ஏன் வந்து டிசைன் கண்ட்ரோல் கண்டிஷன் கொடுக்குறோம், ஏன்னா நம்ம மற்ற தேவையில்லாத மற்ற ஆர்கனிசம் வந்து கண்டாமினேஷன் வந்துடக்கூடாது. ஓகேவா? ஸோ அதனால டிசைட் கண்டிஷனை கொடுத்து க்ரோ பண்றோம். ஒரு டிசைட் கண்டிஷன்ஸ் கொடுத்து க்ரோ பண்ணும்போது அதுக்கு தேவையான பக்கு க்ரோ பண்ணும்போது தேவையான கண்டிஷனை கொடுக்கணும் இல்லையா? ஈக்குவலை வந்து நம்ம சாயில இருந்து கூட ஐசோலேட் பண்ணலாம். ஸோ சாயில இருந்து ஐசோலேட் பண்ணாலும் இஸ் எவ்ரிபடி அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் தமிழ்?
Hey, Akhil, so you speak English. Most of the students is the Kerala students. Please make the English.
Okay, fine. So, okay. And the point here is, wait. I'm not able to see this. So, you have to give ambient conditions for the desired bug, for the growth of the bug. We can easily, the E. coli is in soil, can easily grow. But if you want to grow in a fermenter, you have to give a ambient temperature, ambient pH, and you have to provide oxygen as well as all the essential nutrients for their growth. So this is a kind of fermenter which provides all the essential conditions for the growth. You can say the first one is a drive motor. The drive motor, which is for mixing. You know, have you seen the if you say all the production machine has a kind of drive motor. If you see the grinder, it has a rotor inside, and a mixie is a mixie also has a rotor. You know why? To obtain the homogeneous mixture. That's why in media, in here also fermentation also, once all the media got sterilized, you will transfer into the reactor in aseptic conditions. There it will grow. To obtain the homogeneous conditions with the media as well as in the cells should get the proper nutrients. We provide the homogeneous conditions through the shaft. On the shaft, top of the shaft, for the rotation, we kept a motor here. This is a motor. On the side of that, there is a shaft. The shaft, it has two blades. That is called Ruster turbine impellers. That impeller will help you to maintain the homogeneous conditions. It makes sure that all the availability of nutrients and the oxygen for the microbes. And here is a pH probe to maintain the pH, and DO probe is for maintaining the dissolved oxygen. You know that if the bacteria, it does not take air directly, it in a fermenter, so it always we have to provide such a way that in a dissolved oxygen form. So this air will provide. So that is why we kept the DO probe, dissolved oxygen probe. There is a separate filter here that will help you to pass air inside the vessel. That is the compressed air, or you can also use the direct oxygen also. And this is a control panel for RPM and temperature. And this is a reagent bottle for antifoam. Whenever there is a cell lysis, so the cell will die, or protein lysis, it will get foam. So you have to add antifoam into that. This is a aeration line. That's a inlet sparger line, and a condenser for prevent the evaporation loss. The rotometer for control the aeration. This is a water jacket to maintain the temperature. And this slides deals with what are the guidelines to attain the maximum productivity and what are the bottlenecks we have. The first thing is medium optimization, and the second one is the mode of cultivation, and third one is the process monitoring. These are the variants, the factors that we have to focus. Mostly we have to focus to enhance product formations. You have to choose essential nutrients for the desired growth and maximum productivity. As well as the composition. What are the components should be in the nutrient media? In the case of complex media, you don't know what are the compositions. For example, complex media, I'm telling about nutrient broth, yeast extract. You don't know what are the composition in that. Due to the difficulty in downstream process, we never use, and the cost of the media, mostly we don't prefer complex medium source. We always choose defined media. That is defined media. You can able to know what are the components in the media. So we use always prefer ammonium as well as ammonium sulfate and calcium chloride, sodium hydroxide, and remaining things. And the antifoam, and also concentration. And concentration are also very important. How much gram you are going to use in the medium, that is also important. And the shear stress protectant. The microbe will attain some shear stress while running the process. So we always should not, the cell should not lie during the fermentation conditions. We always used to add some shear stress protectant to keep the cell alive. That should not lysis. And the mode of cultivation, batch cultivation, fed batch, and continuous cultivation are the three different cultivations to enhance the productivity. So we will optimize one kind of cultivation to produce maximum product. And next one is product monitoring, process monitoring. So these are the, as we previously seen that in the from the graph, from the previous picture, the process monitoring has to be, we must be very careful in the choose by monitoring the dissolved oxygen, pH, and how much of air is consumed, and whether this bug require, if air is not able to properly maintain, whether we need to supply oxygen, and whether bug is properly maintaining the temperature is proper maintaining in the process or not, and how much of feed, how much of in the fed feed we have fed so far in the fed batch, whether it's overfeed or not, and also the mixing efficiency, whether the required RPM is enough or whether we have to increase the RPM, and substrate estimation in the sense how much of substrate it consume. So whenever there is a bug, it is usually grow, it will consume and grow, right? So we have to estimate how much of substrate consume, and byproduct estimation, and how much of other byproduct formed, and product quantification. These are the major criteria we have to follow while doing process. And raw materials in the medium. So these are the major criteria for choosing raw materials. For example, if I choose some media, then media should provide maximum amount of growth biomass, and with one minimum amount of substrate, how much gram it produced. For example, if I 1 gram of yield, 1 gram of substrate, 1 gram of glucose, it produce 0.5 gram of product, means that is good, that is okay. And if I 1 gram of substrate, it is produce lesser than that, means I always choose a better substrate to achieve the maximum product. And also the rate of product formation, the rate of product conversion should be also higher, and there should be a minimum byproduct formation. For example, in mammalian cells, it will be lactate will be excreted from the system, so we must, that will inhibit the growth of the cells, so we must ensure that it should be minimum byproduct formation. And we also ensure that must be the substrate will provide a desired product quality, and it should not cause much problem during the process. Some substrates like a complex medium will always cause a problem in the associated with the viscosity. So that will, you don't get a proper mixture, the oxygen won't transfer. So we have to be very careful when you're choosing the concentration of the complex medium. And also it should be easily disposable during the wastewater treatment. And I hope you must be aware of these things. How many of you study the growth curve Have you studied the growth curve? Okay. Okay. These are the following growth curves, and the growth curve has 4 phases. The first phase is the lag phase and log phase, and stationary and death phase. The lag phase is the initial phase. When the from the stock, it will go, you will inoculate in the medium, and next is the exponential phase, log phase, and the stationary phase is the mid phase. That is your death is equal to death. That's the same. Equal amount of cell growth and equal amount of cell death will simultaneously happen, and finally decline phase. And these are the following profile we'll use to measure the growth profile. Following techniques. Spectrometer will use to measure the turbidity of the microorganisms. Turbidity is the OD, and we used oven for measuring the dry cell rate of the microorganisms. These are all help to measure the growth behavior of the microorganism during the fermentation process. I always used to ensure that how the microorganism is growing in each and every hour. How much is going? We measure based on the turbidity. If the turbidity is getting increased, the microorganism is growing healthy. If turbidity is getting less, is microorganism not growing properly. So I will check what is happening in the process. Whether do I need anything something wrong in the process? Because I have to verify in the fermenter. And the counter chamber will help you to find a live cell and dead cell. And as I said, these are 3 different types of fermentation, and batch, fed batch, and chemo continuous cultivation. Batch is kind of substrate, kind of fermentation. Only it is a closed process. You can't add substrates, or you can't add continue the process. Once the batch fermentation started, you have to wait till the complete. That's all. And the fed batch conditions is kind of fermentation uh, to remove the eliminate the substrate inhibition, to improve the productivity, and you want to maintain a long phase, prolonged long phase, you can use the fed batch fermentation. For example, you can't run the fermentation batch, and you can't add 50 gram of glucose in the batch fermentation. That will cause substrate inhibition batch. In the case of fed batch, you can simultaneously you can feed the bug with 50 gram or even 100 or 400 grams of substrates by using fed batch conditions to increase the higher productivity. Continuous cultivation is this kind of cultivation to study the behavior of the bug. Mostly industry won't prefer that. If you want to study the physiology, that will mostly applicable in research purpose. And these are the process control monitoring, as I already mentioned. We have to make sure of the pH, DO, and CO2 because pH is more important, indicator to observe the growth of the microorganisms. The pH range has to be controlled with the help of acid or alkali. Higher range it should control with acid, and lower range you have to control with by adding alkali. So the pH will help you to increase your product phase as well as the microorganism growth phase. So you have to optimize the pH, and also the DO. As we already mentioned, dissolved oxygen. The maintenance of dissolved oxygen is also important product quality as well as product enhancement. Same thing applicable also here in CO2. And the next slide is here I am telling about all the things about physicochemical parameters of as I mentioned here, the pH is and DO are physicochemical parameters and these are critical units for controlling fermentations. So once you want to scale up, before going to manufacturing, you have to make sure that you have to optimize these conditions perfectly. And what is scale up? The scale up is the thing. Uh, After stock, from stock, we have derived from the change in a team and put in a shake flask, and then the small scale level tool. I'm telling that you should assume that it's a 2 liter, it is a 20-liter bioreactor, and it is a 100-liter bioreactor. So you have to grow in a series wise. For example, in the culture vial, it has around 5 ml or 10 ml of vial. From that, we always used to keep in with the stored in with the glycerol. From that, it is transferred into the shake flask as a stock, and then shake flask will go to the subsequently will go to the next level. So this is a simple step for scale up, and we must ensure that the geometry of that. Once you optimize the product concentration in 2 liter, it has to make sure that it has to replicate also in the higher scale level. I'm obtaining one kind of growth behavior and some decent amount of product formation in a 2 liter. If I'm not obtain the same thing in a higher liter, when you go with a 5 liter or 50 liter or 500 liter, means there is something problem in the geometry of the scale. That is, uh, in that case, you have to uh, identify the geometric variation between the reactors. For example, what is the size of the impeller? What is the impeller here? What is the size of the impeller? What is the size of the shaft? Whether the size and shaft are equal. So if it is definitely vary, you have to fix. There are formulas are there. You have to fix according to that. And what is the distance between bottom and the impeller? For example, there is a terminology called height to diameter ratio. If our 2 liter height to diameter ratio is 2:3, the same height to diameter ratio will be followed in 5 liter, 100 liter, as well as in 500 liter. If something changes in that, there will be a direct consequence in your product formation as well as in biomass growth. And that will also include in that, as I mentioned, the tip speed. That tip speed, this is a tip. That is implies your tip here, and the working volume and the range of stir speed. For example, in 2 liter you can go above up to 5,500. In 50 liter you can able to go to 1,000, and 500 liter you can go to up to 300 something. So you have to optimize the corresponding condition in the 500 also to achieve the same product yield in a 2 liter. You have to optimize condition also in 500 liter, large scale also. That is why it has taken long time. That is around 1 to 3 years to reach the production scale. That's why, as I mentioned, we have to also consider process parameters while doing the experiment designs also. And next part is the downstream process. Downstream process, you also know that the fermentation broth from the once the culture has been grown perfect, complete the fermentation, the broth has to be separate by centrifugation or filtration. You will get two things: one is cells and supernatant. So if your product in extracellular means the cells will secrete to the outside. Intracellular means cells product will be in the inside. So let us assume if it is intracellular, we have to lyse the cells. The cells has to be lysed properly with homogenizer or some chemical lysis like urea. If you add urea, your cell will lyse. And the refolic kind of things for antibody making purpose. So leave it. So your cell should be lysed properly. And the next point here is if your cells are in supernatant, your you can known issues. So you don't need to disturb the cells. You can directly um, inject in your in a HPLC or something. You can quantify the product. And also final steps is purification. As your cells will not only desired product and also contains the broth contains other products, so you have to purify that to get the desired product. And the next step is analytical and characterization. As we all discussed the final steps, so you have to be more careful. Even though you are manufacturing the product successfully till the final stage, you have to be very careful in the analytical characterization. If your biosimilar is not matches with the your innovator molecule, then there's no need to be used. Your 7 years work will be waste. So this is the reason people must be ensure that every batches they always use to characterize the experiment, analyze the experiments to the experiment structures. There you must be exposed with multiple equipments like the GCMS, NMR, FTIR. The like how does the physicochemical experiments, physicochemical structures will be, and like amino acid binding capacity and peptide mapping and other things. And more of that, there will be also including the cell-based assay. How does it respond to the your reference? They compare your reference molecule also with the innovator molecule, whether the both drugs are uh, react properly in the same way or in that way. They will from that they will analyze the percentage of, for example, your innovator molecule working 90% for the antibody antigens, and your molecule does not work only for 40%, means they will try to find out why it is not working. There is a process problem in the process characterization or something, or in the strain something. They will go back into that. Like that they continue. And the immunogenicity, whether it causes any immunogenicity, immunological reaction, something like that. And these are my industrial experience will be finished. As the QA part is completely on documented science, so I'm not focused on that. Do you have any questions, friends? Hello?
Sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, can you ask please? Do you have any question, guys?
If you no, sir.
No. Okay. Fine. And the next slides will be focused on the research purpose. For example, if you like to pursue a career, there are different fellowships are there. In if you like, can you note it down? In India, there are CSIR fellowships are there after your PG, CSIR fellowships and DBT and Tata Institute of Fundamental Research and ICMR and Rajiv Gandhi fellowship and GATE fellowships are there to pursue your PhD. And the Erasmus Mundus fellowships and Marie Curie and DAD, these are for European countries. If you like to go European for your PhD, you can follow this fellowship details. And the TWAS countries, the third world development countries like China, Brazil, and African countries. There are different fellowships. TWAS fellowships are apt for to enter into countries, such countries. And US, there are fellowship or Fulbright scholar fellowships and specific university fellowships. And Commonwealth fellowships are applicable for UK, Canada, and Korea fellowships. And these are the details for you can get in the following websites. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I would be like
Yeah.
to
Do you have any
welcome.
questions?
If you have any question, please ask students.
And So, what is your feedback about the session? Hello? Hello?
Yes,
So,
sir.
I am really happy to share my experience with you guys.
Thank
And
you, sir.
yeah, and I got few messages here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir,
Ashwin
for
and
sharing
Hansa.
your knowledge.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Yeah, thank you so much. And really, I'm very glad and thank you, Chinatre, for giving this opportunity and also the AGK management. I'm very glad. Yeah, it's my pleasure to be part of the session.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your knowledge with us.
So, how many of you interested to do PhD? Yeah, thank you so much. How many of you interested to do PhD or interest in making a biotechnology career? Interest in biotechnology career in industry as well as our research, whatever it is.
Sir, I'm interested in industrial career.
Hello?
Sir,
Oh, interest in industry career.
yes, sir.
Great, great. So you are doing a third year, right?
Yes, sir.
Are you in third year, right?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Third year, sir.
Okay, fine. Third year biotechnology.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All the best. Okay. Okay, it was nice talking with you all guys. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I call upon Miss Hansa CB from 3rd BSc
Yeah.
Biotechnology for vote of thanks.
Good morning to one and all
Yeah, thank you
present
so
here.
much.
It's my honor to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. First of all, I would like to express our deep gratitude to respected principal Dr. V. Satish Kumar, who encourages us to conduct such online seminars. I will also thank our beloved Drs. Jennifer ma'am, Head of Department, Dr. K. Chinadure sir, Dr. R. Shashirega ma'am, Assistant Professors, Department of Biotechnology, for their guidance and moral support. And my greatest thanks extends for organizing such an informative webinar on the topic Career Path Towards Industrial Biotechnology. It's a great privilege to have such an eminent personality as our chief guest. We express our heartfelt gratitude to Dr. N. Ahil Anand sir, Research and Development Manager, Upstream Biotechnology, Sun Pharmaceutical Industry Limited, Baroda, Gujarat. Thank you, sir, for spending your valuable time with us and gracing us with your findings and opinions today. I also extend my thanks to all my dear friends who participated in the session. Once again, I thank all for your cordial cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you, Hansa.
Yeah, thank you
There's
so much.
another information. Ma'am shared the feedback form link in our group. So kindly request all participants to fill it. And once again, I thank everyone for us to support and spending your valuable time with us. We are going to go ahead and end this evening. Have a great day and hope to see you all in the next webinar soon. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you.